Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast, and it is opening week presented by Blue Moon. Made brighter, get Blue Moon delivered, and see delivery options by visiting getbluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. We made it.
The offseason and spring training.
The endless cold and the friends we made along the way. And,
and
the steroids.
Oh, yeah.
And the steroids.
Friends, steroids. Hearing the Bellinger news at, I don't know.
2 in the morning.
The 24th hour of the 24th day.
No.
Yeah, that one, it was at like 1 a.m. Mountain Time. Yep. Credit to me and Brennan for doing that show again.
Well, we just keep forgetting that I was on that show.
So, well, it's because you showed up like
I keep getting no credit, literally zero credit for being on that show. It just keeps being Cody and Brendan. I was on it for at least 40 minutes. At least.
The all-hair team was there. That was it. The all-hair team was there. Listen, we've all been waiting for it. This is the big one. This is the big show. Greg Bragg's running the ones and twos. We have our prediction show ready to go. Why is it important? Because we just spit facts. Yeah. You come for the facts, you stay for the vibes. But last year, what was said on this show? I said 83 wins. What happened? 83 wins. Fact. That's just a fact.
Yeah, okay.
It's a fact. Nobody can deny that. I predicted 83 wins. The Cubs won 83 games.
I think you wrote
that's what you're coming
big of
for.
you to have that kind of humility.
But I think you
humble of me.
I think you wrote down
Credit to me
81.
for being so humble.
I think you wrote down 81 and then misspoke on
No.
the show. I remember seeing you.
I said
with 81
because I said 83.
You did.
Like Clark.
I remember.
From Des Plaines.
No,
I remember.
Anyways, the prediction podcast is here. Stay for the vibes in a little bit. We got new diehards. A shout out to Logan and Alejandro just in time for opening day, which is important because soon Ryan's newsletter is not going to be free. You're going to want 20% off the takeovers. You're going to want 20% off the dope merch, right?
You're going to want access to the player database. It's getting updated. Like I've already put in
the Discord,
some new players. I'm putting in new players today. So if you don't have access to it, you're not going to be able to see my writing and my previews and recaps for all these guys. New guys, you have prospects, guys that aren't even on the 40-man are in there. So make sure
We're taking it up a step in 2024, brother.
We're
doing more than we did last year. Big of us. Credit to us.
And let's not forget to mention I said this in the Discord yesterday, but obviously I'll say it here. Like, we're going to take a lot more advantage of the Discord video chats for post game shows. So like what would we call it? The CHGO Cubs extra innings.
That's what I like to
call it.
Yeah, I think that's what we both kind of came up with. Yeah,
I think it's because I think it is overtime. It's like
for
CHGO
football.
Cubs
but extra innings.
Extra innings for the Cubs. So we'll do that. Like after post game shows on YouTube, we'll hop in the Discord and the chat and stuff. And
maybe we call it courtesy runner at second.
Yeah,
sure.
And Luke's in the Discord. It took him 2 years,
I got
but
the
you're
app.
in
It's
there.
right. It's on this phone.
And you're
right
in.
Here. It's on,
People were like so mind blown when they saw you jump
on the
in
app.
it finally.
Yep.
You figured out technology a
lot
bit.
of things. I got steroids, and a lot of things started happening.
See, I'm telling you.
Now, and what people don't know is today, if you're thinking why is Cody beaming right now, it's because he stepped to home plate at Wrigley Field today.
I did.
Cody stepped to home plate with a bat in his hand, and you guys took batting practice at Wrigley Field.
Beer bat?
Now, people are saying, why wasn't I there? Well, I had the pulled sublat, and Major League Baseball would not allow me on steroids to step to the plate at Wrigley Field.
Big of you to not
For
show
betting
up.
reasons. For betting reasons, they were like,
that doesn't make sense.
They don't want to set the line incorrectly knowing that I'm on the roids, and the last time somebody allegedly was on roids in a Cubs uniform, 60 plus. Allegedly.
Okay.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Anyways, so this was the big experience. You guys, first of all, it was cold.
Yeah. Oh my! It was so cold this morning. So cold. We arrived and we didn't really even know where to go into Wrigley Field. So we're standing out there. It's me, Emma, Braggs. We're waiting for Ryan, and I couldn't feel my hands for a little bit. So
it was definitely colder outside than it was.
But once we got into the park, it was a lot better.
It was fitting of an opening day experience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you like it, Braggs? Did you have fun?
Minus most opening days, it also rains. So we didn't get any rain.
There were no snowflakes, no rain. The sun came out at some point.
Yeah, but it was cold. But it was an amazing experience. To be able to sit in the dugout.
No one had a bigger, brighter face than me and Braggs.
Braggs did a whole photo shoot with Emma.
He did.
Literally,
it's get over here, Emma.
30 photos in the group chat we have to throw all the content and stuff in there. 30 pictures of just Braggs. Looking at the camera, looking out at Wrigley Field. It was a whole slideshow of them.
Yeah, it was. It was a momentous occasion.
Should we
do we have any of the videos?
We do.
The people in the live YouTube chat that want to see it.
Where do we want to start?
Well, I want to introduce one of Cody real quick. I think we should start with Cody.
Want to start with Cody?
Start with the worst.
The Big Bob. We call him the Big Bob.
You want to end with Cody or start with Cody?
You want to end with Cody?
It's
okay, but let me introduce it. We can start with the other one.
Save the best for last.
You want to start with you?
Sure.
All right, let's start with
you. But I want to introduce the Cody.
You want to introduce Cody. All right.
Here's Ryan. First up, batting first.
Me mic'd
leading
up
off.
also.
This is Ryan mic'd
leading
up at
off
Wrigley
and
Field,
playing second base.
Mic'd up as well.
I don't want to talk too much over it, but let's.
Here we go.
Stan, that was a ground ball.
Shit. All right, here we go. Bring it in here.
Up. Not safe for work.
Come
Another
on.
ground ball. Chopper to the pitcher.
Oh yeah.
That was
the line drive.
Good
that
rip.
it?
Good rip, kid.
That was it. Three swings they gave.
Well,
you.
they stopped me at 3. They stopped. Are we? Oh yeah, okay.
They were worried that you were going to hurt somebody with those line drives.
Well, they stopped me at 3. I went back and took another round, and those, that was a bad warm up round. But then I went back and hit again. I hit one, I told you earlier, right nice up the middle, would have been a ground ball base hit up the middle to the center fielder. And the second one I hit was a line drive to the gap in the outfield. May have gotten cut off by Ian Happ in left field. You never know, but it was where you needed it to be. And that one didn't get recorded. Somehow was not recorded.
You got some critics out there. Gary Ross says your front foot's moving too much.
Gary, it's the first time I swung a bat in 9 years. It's not at sluggers or in softball.
Brendan Miller said he was going to fly in when he saw some of these swings.
Brendan avoids Chicago at all costs, and he knows that. But my line drive didn't get recorded, but there is a part of the clip that Cody's like, did Ryan just hit that? So if you need verification, Cody saw it.
I did. Ryan.
I will give credit where credit is due. As someone who's a man of integrity, I will give Ryan credit. He did hit a line drive up, between the third and second base, more up the middle on that side. I believe that's where it was. So, yeah, big of me to say.
There you go.
All right, well,
who's next?
We'll let Cody be last, so
we got Braggs.
The great Bambino up next. Here we go.
Braggs. Look at this.
Oh,
look, he's going to Willie Stargell. That's the old Willie Stargell warm-up. The big looping swings around. Willie Stargell.
My favorite.
Oh, now that might have made it to the outfield. Was that an outfield shot?
It made it out of the infield.
grass?
I don't know if we're going to call it the outfield, but it made it out of the infield.
It was past the dirt. That one was not.
No. I mean,
now he's switch hitter. Here we go, switching it up.
I tried, but
tried to Ian Happ it.
I will say it's cold out. You don't get any warm-ups. You get 3 swings. They give me a little bonus swing there.
Barb in the chat. Get out the tape measure.
Nobody showed up in a uniform. You're in jeans.
Right. In jeans. So, I mean, hey, Gary's right. I do have way too much movement going on.
Yeah.
Everything's moving way too much. Too much wasted
Fernando's
motion.
calling you Hayward 2.0.
Come on now. Yeah, well, definitely on the left side of the plate. So, yeah, a good showing, and then we all win a second time around. And I had a nice, just like Ryan, had better contact on my second time.
I did not take a second round for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know those obvious reasons yet. Are you ready to introduce batting third?
Batting third. Well, I was gonna say Cody put out a nice story, Instagram on his Instagram, put out a video, going into Wrigley Field, doing all this stuff, but he conveniently stopped it before he started taking swings.
Gotcha.
That did not make the end clip of the video. So I
Chat's
had to
asking
make
if
sure.
Shota was throwing BP.
I had to make sure that we brought this on to the show. So Cody also said don't ask him about his swing on Twitter earlier, and that's why I was like, well, people want to know.
After this, we'll burn the tape.
Cody's swing is not his strength.
We ready for this one?
This is not my strength, bro.
Ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, in your 3-hole, Cody Delmendo.
I'm not using the beer bag.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Boy, he's not wearing Jordans. That's a surprise.
Oh, there you go.
Those are Adidas.
Yeah, those are Adidas.
Drawing the ball, Cody. Look, I'm just me giving good
There it
advice.
is.
Look at
Contact.
my
There it is.
advice.
There it is. There's
My
one.
advice
That was
immediately
low
turns
too. He
into-
could have
wrong.
he could have took that one.
I think we can all say
Here. Wait, is this I got to move up part? Oh no, the next one is.
You are way up in the box. I
Yeah,
think I got to move up. He's up even further. And no.
there is one.
They were giving him extra swings out of pity. They were like, "Come."
There, you
They
put it
offered
right
Cody
down
the
the
third
Oh,
base
that was
line.
fair.
That
That
was
was
fair.
fair.
It was fair.
Fair ball.
And I think, it would have got through against some guys.
It was a fair ball. I think. I think
got
Madrigal
through against Morel, probably.
I think Madrigal
that's
probably
a
makes the
joke.
play down the third baseline. Madrigal makes a play. Morale makes a play.
Okay. We can all agree that the guy throwing the pitches,
Damn.
he wasn't like
Well, they were
throwing some good ones, okay?
It wasn't.
And I
coaches
swung
throwing
purposely at all of them just because, like, I didn't want to.
Oh, man.
We
Mike
all
Dubs,
got
yeah.
a handful of pitches anyway. I didn't know if they were going to take any away
Yeah.
from me for
Damn.
not swinging.
Dub says that's okay. Delmetrics is more vibes than it is actual hitting.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
right.
That's fair. No, it was not Cubs coaches throwing BP out there. So I'm not sure who it was, but
Damn,
it
Barb.
wasn't. It wasn't all
Barb just
the cleanest.
slaying you right now. Says maybe Cody needs to focus on pitching.
Barb. But yeah, no. So
I'd be even worse at that. That's for damn sure.
I was gonna say for those of you that are listening to this through podcast,
Go back
you
and
should
look-
definitely
yeah,
go
go back
go
and check
watch
it out.
It's worth a
watch
watch.
it.
It's worth the watch.
Yeah, we'll put it on. Some of it'll be on social.
Yeah.
A lot of it onto social media.
for sure.
And if you want my photo album, I'll be charging.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think the charging rate for a calendar
Greg's
shoot?
hired 4 professional photographers to follow him around. He had a camera crew
Well,
from
someone,
Japan
Greg's,
that
I
was
think-
there following him around.
I think Braggs has to pay people to take his photo album off his hands.
that said, someone
Get
from
my good
Marquee
side.
took our picture for all of us, like a group picture of us that I still haven't seen yet because I don't think they've sent it to us. But
I'm
they have
su-
a picture of us.
I'm surprised Braggs didn't show up with a GoPro on his head.
I should have. I have my own. I
I'm
should've
really
brought
sort of
my own.
surprised. Hey, if you want to see us in person, tomorrow's the chance. Hang with us, This is it. The season starts. It's a party. We're going to be at Country Club, 6 o'clock tomorrow, watch party. In the description, there's a link. We'd like you to RSVP if you can.
Yeah.
If you would, please. Not because it costs anything. You're not reserving a spot or anything. We just want to know because we're going to have drink specials. We're going to have some merch giveaways, some little fun stuff going on throughout the game. Yeah. Come watch the game with us tomorrow. Opening day. Country Club.
My guy Luis Medina
6 p.m.
from Bleacher Nation is going to be there tomorrow. for
Greg
sure.
Braggs is
Luis
coming.
is going to be there?
Yeah, Luis is going to be there.
I will be there. I'm excited.
Right
Now
on
you're gonna
Clark
get people
Street.
to
Clark
leave.
Street, right in Wrigleyville.
That's right. I can't wait to
it's
watch.
gonna be fun.
March. I mean, you got the Blackhawks on tomorrow night. You got March Madness.
March Madness.
You got opening day.
That's right.
A lot of action tomorrow night.
Cubs against the World Series champs.
Why not? Let's go.
Wyatt Langford going to make his debut for the Rangers.
Will tomorrow night be the first night I crash on Cody's couch?
Ah, that's a good question. Hey, by the way, yesterday, if you weren't here, we had the big announcement.
Yeah.
We're getting to the prediction show here in a second, and we're going to get to some last-minute Cubs news. But the 120 Club has been formed and
Friday,
commenced.
120. Yeah.
Friday, 120
Oh, yeah.
Club. Excuse
Starting
me.
next Friday.
Starting
The
this Friday.
The first home Friday.
14 Friday 120 games at Wrigley Field.
Oh, yeah.
Braggs and Cody are going to be there. All you got to do is bring your bleacher ticket and come hang out. First at Murphy's before the game, then at Almost home after the game. Excuse me.
Yes.
Good.
Steroids fogging me up a little bit. And hang out during the game. Yeah. And the shirt dropped, the Friday 120 Club, which was one of our coolest shirts. Go to pick out the shirt, buy the shirt at the CHGO locker, and then everybody wears it to the game. So when we see you in the bleachers, we can clearly identify when Boog's calling the game. We just go, there's the Friday 120 Club. There they are.
There we are.
There they are in their green swag.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, all presented by Circus Sports.
Shout out
our friends at Circus Sports.
Which means hit parlays start tomorrow. Boy, oh boy, wow. I can't wait.
Is your app going to be burning up tomorrow? Your phone, charge it now.
I will charge my phone tomorrow, Barb. Don't worry. All right. But, yeah, I was very profitable on them last year. Can't wait.
All right, so that's going to be fun. Hey, we got the prediction show coming up, but I got to tell you, more big news. Big news. You know what happened? I got my Factor meal kits in the mail just in time, right at my doorstep, in time for opening day. They arrived last night. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from every week. 2-minute meals. Fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant-quality meals that are ready to heat and eat whenever you are. Pancakes, smoothies, more. Discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. And there's no prep. There's no messy meals. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleaning up needed. Flexible for your schedule, too. Get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. Factor is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. You don't have to be a chef. Sign up and save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Head to factormeals.com/CHGO Cubs 50 and use the code CHGO Cubs 50 to get 50% off. That's code CHGO Cubs 50 at factormeals.com/CHGO Cubs 50 to get 50% off. I got the what are they called? The wellness shots?
Mm-hmm. Wellness shots, yeah.
Got a package of those. I saw Ryan doing one here at work.
Yep.
That's how he recovered from his batting practice.
Oh, yeah. You need
I'm going to take one when I get home. That way I recover from my batting practice, too.
Well, it's gonna take me from a month of sickness now.
Yeah.
The wellness shots. Now I'm building the base. Here we go. Yeah. This is it. I'm off the IL.
Yeah. No, I also had the white cheddar chicken Factor meal today for lunch.
It looked good.
Yeah,
it smelled good.
It was, as the kids say these days, it was fire.
Yeah,
it was fire.
Is that what
it's
kids
slayed?
say?
I think the kids say it's slayed.
That's what I was going to say.
No, kids don't. Well, maybe the young kids say slay.
The young kids say it's slayed.
I don't say slay, but it slay, fire, whatever it was.
Emma says slay.
Yeah, says slay.
Guys like me, we say it's slayed.
No, it was very young good
guys.
though.
Young guys.
Definitely recommend that one. I also recommend, gotta tell you, Blue Moon. I always recommend Blue Moon.
Oh,
we're
yes, sir.
Tomorrow's opening day. We're getting closer and closer to baseball season by hours, right? Like I think just under 24 hours away from the first pitch being thrown of the Cubs baseball season. And that's 162 games of going to the ballpark. Obviously I'm in the press box, but Cody going to be in the bleachers every Friday. Luke may show up for a couple games here and there.
I've started to mark some on the calendar.
But even if you can't make it to the ballpark, Blue Moon gives you a dose of ballpark nostalgia without even being at the park. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantee a one-of-a-kind beer experience year-round. I mean, that's my favorite way to enjoy a Blue Moon. Chilled glass, off the draft, with the orange slice in there, Cody. And any specific way you like to enjoy a Blue Moon? I also like it with a burger on the side.
I was going to say, like
Cody likes a Blue Moon in the morning.
Yeah.
And then sometimes at lunch.
Yep. And then with my Factor meal kit with dinner.
With dinner.
There you go.
And then just before bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I dream about Blue Moon.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
I'll be dreaming about Blue Moon tonight as I'm laying in bed thinking about my Cubs season predictions and how they're all going to be correct. I'll be drinking my Blue Moon and, man, it'll be great. And then I'll dream about Blue Moon and dream about my predictions being correct.
Absolutely.
There will be no better dream I'll have than tonight.
Yeah. So a bold new year deserves a bold, unique beer from its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon isn't just another beer. It's a whole different experience. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all off-season long and, starting tomorrow, all season long. Make the winter weather feel like spring training or feel like opening day. Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Once in a blue moon, we're going to have to do something special coming up on the 7th or the 8th for the big eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
We should get together with our blue moon buddies and say, listen, what can we work on here? Something a little special. Eclipse, a little an eclipse party maybe.
We got a super chat, I think, from Fernando.
Super chat?
Yep.
Nando?
Fernando, $1.99. Any info for home opener meet and greet?
No, not for the home opener.
No.
Well,
we're going to be out and around the ballpark.
Yeah,
the shows aren't going to be live at the ballpark.
We were planning to, and then some things fell through, so we couldn't. But me and Emma will be out there shooting content, like, in that morning.
Yeah, for the home opener. So if you are going to go to the home opener, keep your eye out for Delmendo. And maybe he'll...
Yeah.
Maybe
if you're around, just
hi.
like kind of walking around, you want to be in our video that we're going to be making, you know.
But Friday,
me and Braggs will be at Murphy's at 9:30.
I got the shirt
whenever
ready.
they open. I'm pretty sure it's
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Okay.
6 a.m.
We got to get Cody a hat. He wears his Friday 120 Club shirt on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
His hat says Del Friendo. Because everybody's part of the group. I'm your Del Friendo.
There you go.
I'm all for that. Has that ever been said before?
No,
Del Friendo?
that's first.
That's a new one.
This is it,
Oh,
dude.
nicer one.
Del Friendo.
Usually we use his name to like make fun of him.
Yeah, usually it's like...
Yeah, but this is a positive one. He's your Del Friendo.
That's a nice one.
I think that's a home run
That should be
idea.
a hashtag on all your tweets.
Del Friendo.
Del Friendo.
Honestly, we're rolling with this.
Big time. That's like Cap having take that. This is yours.
Del Friendo.
Del Friendo.
Del Friendo? Okay.
Hey, today's
Del
takeaways.
Friendo and the meatball.
Oh, my God.
Today's takeaways are presented by Factor Meal Kits. Use the code CHGO50 to get 50% off your Factor box. Here's some stats for you out of spring training. The final ones. Cubs finished 16-15 in Cactus League play. Does it matter? The two best records in the Cactus League were the Dodgers and then the Rockies. So does it matter? I don't know. Tough to say. Ian Happ has been announced as your leadoff man. We'll talk about that in a second. Seiya rocked the spring. 6 homers, 12 ribbies, 5 doubles, batting .459 with an OPS of 1.593. Does that matter? Well, who was next in home runs? Anybody have an idea? Seiya hit the most home runs on the team, 6 this spring. Who was next and who was third?
Bodie.
David Bodie was second with 5, one less than Seiya.
Jesus. Okay.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah,
like everybody's bragging about Seiya's hot spring, but David Bodie was next with 5 homers.
Was Garrett Cooper third?
Michael Busch with 3. Does that mean Busch is going to get off to a great start? Who K'd the most? Who struck out the most this spring? Christopher Morel, 17 times. Does that mean anything? I don't know. I don't know. You could skew these facts however you want to make them look. Anyways, use the code CHGO Cubs50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and free wellness shots for life with any active subscription at factormeals.com/CHGO Cubs50. So Happ is leading off. That's been announced. We kind of saw that coming, right?
Yeah,
that's a Counsell thing, and it's something we kind of called for
last year. Yeah. No, Counsell, I think, said it on the broadcast during yesterday's game. It's something that we talked about last year as far as, Ian Happ in the 3-hole, like if that's the guy you want to be your biggest run producer, willing to, maybe sacrifice some swing and miss or contact on the other side, sacrifice that to like get the ball out there, drive runs in. Ian Happ's a really good he has a really good plate approach. He gets on base a lot. I think he was in like the top 20 as far as like on base
like
percentage.
99 times last year.
He's in my opinion, at least from the left side, is what you want in a leadoff hitter, a guy that's going to bat in front of your best hitters, a guy that's going to get on base a lot, whether that's walks, base hits, whatever. And I mean, he has 20 home run plus potential. He's done it the last 2 years, I want to say. He definitely did it this last season. So I like the move of leading him off. Now against righties, it may be like maybe Nico is a better, or not against left-handed pitchers. As far if you're doing a right-handed heavy lineup, maybe Nico is the guy you want leading off. But obviously, Happ in the leadoff spot is pretty good. And
to start the season, it doesn't have to be all year. Let's start with it and see how it goes.
Well, like you said, and it's what we talked about. And it's funny because like the people that, like I don't know how much it overlaps, but like people that didn't want Happ in the third and hitting number 3 last year, and then people that just don't think Happ's a good hitter, like. If you wanted him off with number 3, but now you're putting him in leadoff, now he's going to have the most at bats on the team. So if you're one of his just overall detractors, like those people are probably going crazy.
I'm glad that they're going crazy because Ian Happ's going to prove them wrong this year because I love this. Like you said, Ryan, we called for this last year for him to be moved up in the lineup in a role that would suit him well, which is all he does is get on base. This guy has a weighted runs created plus above league average every single year and had the highest on-base percentage on the team last year. He gets on base. He's a good baseball player, okay? So I love this, and I agree. I think Nico will probably get some opportunities in the leadoff spot against left-handed pitching. Will this hurt Nico Hoerner's ability to perhaps surpass 40 stolen bases again? I don't necessarily think so, but again, I guess so in some aspects just because – there were so many games last year where he'd start the game with a hit and then steal second base, right? And so there might be scenarios now because I think against right-handed pitching, Nico's going to be hitting like 5th or 6th, most likely 6th. And when he comes up, there possibly could be people on base already. But the thing is that Nico was one of the best clutch hitters for the Cubs last year. So I like Nico hitting in that 5th or 6th hole because he drove in runs last year better than I think what many casuals might think. So I like the idea of Nico, 5th, 6th, or 7th, you know what I mean, in the lineup. And against lefties, probably batting first. Unless Ian Happ gets back to hitting like he did in 2022 against left-handed pitching when he was from the right side of the plate. That was his 1 year as a right-handed hitter where you're like, oh, wow, he improved on this. He got better at this, but then took a massive step back last year from the right side of the plate. So I don't know what to expect there, but again, the Cubs are going to face more right-handed pitchers than left-handed pitchers just because there's more right-handed pitchers in the league. So you're going to see him at leadoff more often than not, and I just think I think this move by Craig Counsell it's great because it'll probably be Happ, Seiya, Bellinger, your 3 best players at the top of the lineup. You want your 3 best players to get the most at bats. That's just a fact of the matter.
Yeah, I'm not going to give him tons of credit for making the move because if the entire fan base is saying it, it seems like it was a pretty obvious move. But okay, we're off to a good start. I think it's unanimous. Everybody sitting here thinks Happ is going into the season the right choice for leadoff to begin the season. Now, the other thing that happened yesterday late was Jordan Montgomery signed with the Diamondbacks. And he's been sitting out there, and we've kind of thrown out the idea, will the Cubs go over the threshold? Will they spend that money now and do it? And I know Brendan has said in there, listen, if they're an 84, 85, 86 win team, is it really worth now doing that because is that guy going to take you? I don't know, but basically they got him for 2 years, $50 million, right?
He can opt out, right?
$25 million.
And I know that the Cubs finished 1 game behind the Diamondbacks last year.
Yeah.
And I know that they were expected by most people to finish 1 game ahead of the Cubs again this year. There's 6 playoff spots.
Diamondbacks are only projected for 84 wins.
Some people have them not that high, but they're in a tough division.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
That's surprising to me.
I will just say this. I don't know if it was the right time to make the move, but boy, he makes that rotation legit.
They're legit. Their rotation was already good.
Yeah, he makes them a factor in a really tough division.
Fott, Rodriguez, Montgomery. Montgomery's not even the best pitcher in that he's not even the second best pitcher in that rotation. He's probably like
Merrill Kelly too.
Oh yeah, he's probably like the fourth best pitcher in that rotation.
I mean, they're going to be tough.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised that
could be a team
Fangraphs or whoever had them at 84. That I feel like they're going to be the first wild card spot this year, in my opinion, because the Dodgers are going to win this division.
Probably, but if pitching wins,
true,
especially over a long season,
true. Yeah, unless some like crazy shit happens,
you never know.
You never know. But on paper, right now, I think the Diamondbacks will finish second in the NL West and still get a wild card spot.
Yeah. I mean, I was predicting them to be a playoff team before they got Montgomery. Obviously, he's helped solidify that rotation.
They probably, you can argue they had the best offseason of any outside of the Dodgers. Outside of the Dodgers,
had a pretty good offseason.
Maybe the second or third best offseason in the National League.
Yeah. Well, I think
did they miss out real quick?
The Cubs?
Yeah.
I mean, because he would have been he would have helped solidify the bullpen or the rotation a little bit more, right? He probably would have slotted in at number 2 behind Steele in the rotation. Obviously, he's just a good pitcher to have added there, and we saw it the last couple months of last year for sure, and obviously the playoffs, just how the big moments, how he was able to pitch, and he's been pretty good the last few years too. Like it's not like it was a one-time thing. I just again, and this is not like just trying to look at it from the Cubs' perspective. They're, depending where you're looking, like just barely under the tax, the threshold for the competitive balance tax, or maybe even a little bit over. Once you obviously take into account the money they're going to have to spend throughout
bonuses
the season,
and whatnot,
bonuses. A guy gets hurt and goes in the 60 days, so you add a new guy to the 40-man, whatever that is. Like they're looking like they're going to be over anyway. A Jordan Montgomery $25 million AAV, I believe it would be. But like I don't know how, because he has escalators in it based on the amount of starts he makes for next year. So I don't know exactly what it would be towards as far as AAV goes, which is how the luxury tax stuff goes. But they would be pretty much entering the second threshold. So are you looking at this team? Does Jordan Montgomery make you a World Series contender? I don't know for sure. I think it definitely improves the team. I don't know that it for sure makes the Cubs like a true World Series contender. And so you're talking about being in the second luxury tax bracket a year that you may not even look at it as a World Series winning year. And then that means you're starting the clock, not just for being in the luxury tax number 1, which every year you're in it, you're getting escalated penalties, but then the higher you are in the tax, you're also getting escalated penalties. So, again, I'm not saying that I agree with all that. Obviously, the Cubs are a very resource-heavy team. Like, they can afford to do what Steve Cohen did a couple of years ago, right? Like, it's not something the Cubs aren't poor or anything. Like, they can afford it. They can afford that. Yeah. But that's just how this is how they kind of look at things. This is how you should just kind of look at it as far as how the Cubs operate was that the move that was going to put them over the top, or could they hold on? Can they wait and at the trade deadline bring in, spend more money and bring in what actually at that point they know they need? That's just the balance of how you're looking at it. I understand why people are upset about them not getting Montgomery on that kind of contract. Like, I get it, but that's like the other side of the equation is like, how does this affect what they can do moving forward this year?
All right, our predictions are coming up, our season predictions. You've been waiting for it for months. You've all been waiting to hear what we have to say. Everybody's waiting. The world is waiting. But you don't have to wait for CD1 Price Cleaners. Customers save over 30% on their dry cleaning bill by switching to CD1 Price Cleaners. Simple, transparent service. Other cleaners charge a different price for every garment type. Plus, they have upcharges. You might pay a different price every time you visit at CD1 Price Cleaners. We charge one low price for any garment. Yep, even those sports jerseys you're wearing to the ballpark. Same one low price and the fastest turnaround. CD1 Price Cleaners has your order ready same or next day. Other cleaners can take 2, 3, 4 days to clean your garments and get them ready. They also send you a text alert when it's done. CD1 Price Cleaners sends you that text when your order is ready to go for pickup. They have a wide variety of services: dry cleaning, wash and fold laundry, blanket, comforters, tailoring, alterations, leather cleaning, for those chaps that Braggs will be wearing on Fridays at the ballpark in the bleachers, and area rug cleaning as well. Visit CHGO.CD1, that's ONE.com, link in the description. Once there, you can pick from an in-store coupon or online pickup and delivery coupon options. I go to the one in Arlington Heights, boom, they're ready. Like I said, hey, winter's basically over. The coldest of the weather is past us, hopefully. Got the comforters all dry cleaned, sent away. The next day, they're ready to go. Boom, put them in the closet.
There you go.
Ready to go for the winter. Let's bring out the spring sheets, right? Let's bring out the lighter bedding.
There you go. Well, y'all are going to need to be able to get to the watch party tomorrow some way, right? All right, and you can do that with Ray Chevy. All right, best offers of the year come during the March Radness sales event. Make your way to Ray Chevrolet on Route 12 in Fox Lake to join in on the savings. One of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest. You'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Perfect tailgate vehicles await at Ray Chevy during Truck Month. For a limited time, they're offering 0% financing for 72 months on the new Silverados with over 100 available. 125 vehicles under $20,000. Seriously, guys, can pricing get any more affordable than that? Personally, I don't think so. Silverados, less than $20,000. That sounds like a great deal to me. All right, so everyone loves the word free, and that's what you get this month at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, a free oil change. And all you need to do is mention CHGO when scheduling your oil change. Start off the new year right and schedule it by April 1st. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Find new roads.
Beautiful.
I guess my 2 cents related to Montgomery before we get to the predictions is, yeah, he would have made the team better, but I'm with Ryan in the fact that they wouldn't have been a World Series contender if they added him. And also at the same time, like, part of me does want some answers on some of these young guys. But at the same time, if some of these young guys are not good, then I think it's fair for criticism, because then that shows that the Cubs put too much stock into their own guys.
Took the wrong route.
Yeah.
They were wrong. They would be wrong at that point.
Yeah. So
at least for the year.
I in general agree with most people who are pissed about it, but like I'm excited for Cade Horton and Ben Brown, and I want to see what Hayden Wisniewski can do in year 2. And we're all in here on the ass man. All right. So I think the Cubs have really good pitching depth. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the pitching. I have more concerns about the offense than I do the pitching personally. I think a lot of people are in disagreement with me on that, but I think Montgomery would have been a nice move. It would have been like how I viewed like John Lackey going into 2016. Now, John Lackey was towards the end of his career, all this stuff, so that's not exactly the same, but like he was supposed to be an added bonus that like put them over the top, added more depth for them, I guess, in a way. Thing is, in this scenario, the Cubs already have a lot of pitchers that they want to learn more about and give an opportunity to. And in 2016, or going into 2016, the Cubs didn't exactly have that. So
different situation.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the same thing, but that's kind of how I view it in some ways. Again, I won't be surprised if Montgomery goes to the Diamondbacks and has, some solid outings. But at the same time, it's like, all right, well, what about the guys that we have here? Are some of them going to be better than what we expect? Is Steele going to keep going? Is Jordan Wicks and Javier Sa going to do well in their role? Is Tyone going to bounce back from last season? Right? Sure. There's definitely question marks.
Even if can Steele have a similar season to he had last year, right?
And the only thing that keeps me kind of level-headed and optimistic, or more so optimistic, on top of somewhat realistic at the same time, is the fact that there's a lot of questions for every team in this division related to pitching. All right, and I think the Cubs have the most answers out of any pitching staff in this division. So we'll see. But again, I think if things don't work out on the pitching side this year, the Cubs rightfully will deserve to be criticized for putting too much stock in their own dudes. whenever they have all the money in the world.
Well, that's the risk you take with making any decision, right? Obviously, like you open yourself up to criticism on either side if you're wrong. Like, so even if they spent all this money on pitching and then the guys weren't as good as they didn't live up to the contract, whatever it is, then you're criticizing them for putting too much money in the pitching staff. It didn't work out, right? So on both sides.
One thing I will say about this is I don't know if it was the right move or the wrong move. I don't think the Cubs, and I don't know if Montgomery impacts this enough, but one thing I know the Cubs can't afford to do this year, it's not worry about the luxury tax. They can't afford to not make the postseason.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the number one thing. Now, number two in their mind might be the luxury going to the second tier. They might be worried about that because they don't believe this is their World Series window yet, yada, yada, yada. But more important than that for this franchise, I believe this year, is making the playoffs. So I do believe he would have greatly impacted those chances.
Yeah.
At least 3 wins. At least 3 wins. That's just, especially with Tyone being injured going into the season. So let's get to our predictions. This is what the people have been waiting for.
I was going to say we have one super chat.
Oh, we got a super chat? Let's do it.
Carm's pissing me off because he's over here talking crap about my swing. He's over here whispering in my ear about my swing.
And he's wearing a hood.
We got
Very
three.
sketchy.
We got 3 cuts. We didn't even get a chance to warm up, and this guy's acting like he's some
he tried
athletic
to sneak up
savant
on you with his hood
here.
down. And
It's a joke. What?
Does anybody disagree with my take that his swing's embarrassing?
Oh,
I mean, mine's embarrassing.
that's
too.
rewatch. Rewatch and analyze.
Did you post that on Twitter? I sure did. Oh, good. I'm glad you finally learned how to post something on Twitter.
Wow.
Now you get to do it for the rest of
Let's
the
get
week.
to the super chat. Go
Super
argue on the
chat.
Bears show.
Super
Go argue on
chat.
the Bears show.
go take your shirt off somewhere else.
Sir Silent of the Fogs, $2. Richard Lovelady Fans Club is out. Coop Troop is in. I think that's related to Garrett Cooper.
Coop Troop.
I've been reading that in the Discord. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Garrett Cooper stands in the Discord. I've said this a little bit, kind of. Like, I hope Garrett Cooper does well, but man, do I have some PTSD from last year's veteran guys they brought in. I do think that Garrett Cooper is better than Trey Mancini and Eric Hosmer, but it goes back to what I said about Alexander Canario the other day. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's another veteran pickup that you're hoping it works out for as far as like, because he's right now it looks like he's like more of a marginal piece. Like, he's not the Dansby Swanson, Nico, Happ, Bellinger kind of level for this team, at least.
Yeah.
A little bit more of like a nice pickup on like to help play a role on the team, help the team, and you see if it works out for him. But yeah, predictions.
All right, let's get to it. Here we go. The big predictions. Again, if you remember last year, I said 83 wins and on this show, and then the Cubs won 83 games. You're not going to get that kind of insight somewhere else. If you want to go somewhere else, that's okay. Other podcasts are good too. I'm just telling you, 83 wins happen. I said Cody Bellinger on 2/24/24. On the 24th hour, it happened.
Well,
okay.
that all said, I also called Cody Bellinger win comeback player of the year last year.
You did. You called that. You called that.
Well,
we had a lot of things right last year. We had a lot of things right here.
I said the Cubs were going to be above 500 and not make the playoffs. So that was a correct.
You said
prediction.
that. Credit to you. That was true. All right. So what's the Cubs record going to be this year? Put a lot of thought in this. About 45 seconds.
You did.
Yeah.
You want to go first then?
We could all say at the same time.
Cody, you did it for. Well, yeah. Okay. You want to show them all at once, Braggs? How do you want to do it?
It's up to you guys. You want me to reveal it now?
Okay.
You want to do the reveal for the records?
Go ahead.
Here we go.
There it is. Here it comes. Here it comes. Get ready for it.
I went 89 and 73. Ryan went 87 and 75, and Luke went 90 and 72.
Unexpected.
This is the first time in CHGO Cubs history where someone else predicts more wins than me.
That's
all
right. Somebody's
so
more
all of
optimistic
you
than you
haters who think that I am way too optimistic and never critical of this team at all, suck it. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if
And the guy that
really you being critical versus Luke
And
just even higher on it.
the guy that predicted the most wins is the guy that was right about the wins last
He
year.
was.
That's
He
right.
was.
There you go, Lenny.
And how did I do it last year? Well, I said
Pure genius.
Clark from Des Plaines, 83.
Sure.
This
Now,
time
today-
it's what was it? You went to you graduated from college in 1990? What was it?
College.
Well, you said
High school.
How old are
high
you?
school. Yeah.
High school. Here's where I was. Now, by the way, Barb agrees with me. 90 wins.
He started
NL
getting
Central.
he started getting Social Security checks in 1990.
I qualified for ARP. No. Last year, I did it in honor of Clark from Des Plaines and Beer Money. 83. This year, I was going to go one more. I thought, listen, they haven't done enough. This is one more win. This is an 84-win team. And then I thought, but that number has no ring to it. You graduated high school in 90. The Cubs are going to win 90.
Sure.
And how did I get really to 90? I thought to myself, was that crazy? Is that unrealistic? Maybe. But the division is, as you say, mid. Nobody should be running over the Cubs this year. No matter what injuries they have, nobody should be running over the Cubs in this division.
I think so. And so you had 90 wins.
I think Craig Counsell gives them a couple more wins.
Sure.
I think they don't falter down the stretch like they did last year because of that too. And so I could see, I don't think higher than 90, but I think 90 is a possibility.
I had 80. I had 87. Tyler's, I think, taking a shot at me. He said, shocker, Ryan with the lowest win prediction. Never would have guessed that one.
Damn,
I mean,
Tyler.
I'm predicting them like 5 or 6 wins over what the other projection systems are.
Little counts has to be realistic.
That's
Little
like
counts.
I'm giving them 5 or 6 wins more than what, projection systems are giving them. Just because I'm not predicting 90 wins, I think they're going to be better.
Whatever, wet blanket.
With the project.
What are you saying, Braggs? What do you got? Do you
call
want to
me?
throw one in there? You're not going to put it on paper?
What did you just call me?
Called you
wet
the wet
blanket? Do you not know what that means?
Because I put out fires? Is that what it is?
These kids.
I don't know what you're talking
These kids. These kids, Luke.
Fernando with a super chat says, I have 89 as well. Del Friendo is right.
Hell yeah, brother.
Friend
Listen,
of the people.
I've been going back and forth honestly the last month because I know the last 2 years I've come off as way too optimistic.
You said 88 wins a couple years ago, right?
I said 88 wins last year, and I said 85 in year one when they won 73. So, I was trying to dial it back a little bit, but I still think that the team will go over the total in Vegas, which is 83.5. And I think that, and I've said this a handful of times, this year's team going into opening day is drastically better than last year's team going to opening day. Everyone on the outside is looking at this roster and they're
drastically?
I don't know about drastically.
So many people are saying that this team is the same as last year. There is no Trey Mancini, no Tucker Barnhart, no Eric Hosmer. You know how many at-bats those guys got last year?
But
way too many.
But
also, you don't have some of the other pitchers that were on the roster at the beginning of last year. There are other guys. Now, of course, they have to outperform what some of us believe, right? Like Michael Busch has to perform.
That's right.
Well, I think some of those guys will. So, that's why I came up with 89.
There's differences in the roster, and there's definitely improvements on the roster. I wouldn't say drastically different because a lot of what we expect to be the main contributors are still around. But I do think the team's going to be better than it was last year.
They had 83 wins last year, so I'm going to put them around 87, 88 wins.
You're calling me a wet blanket, and you're making the same prediction that I made.
Yeah.
Well,
Drew Smiley's
He's a wet
not.
blanket
All right,
too.
but-
Did you see that swing? Wet
So
blanket.
listen,
Drew Smiley's not in the rotation. The rotation looks better.
But Niren is
this
right
year.
too. Who's the number 2 starter? Are there questions? There are questions on this team.
absolutely.
Could I? Okay, I predicted 90. I'm the captain. Captain, positive, as I like to say. However, I can also be captain negative. I can look at it and say, could I see this team winning the same as last year or even less? Could I see them winning 82 games? Yes, but I don't see too much lower than that. Do I think their range is 82 to 90? That's it. It's in there, 82 to 90. They're not going over 90 wins. I don't see a way that happens, and I don't think they're going below 80.
They shouldn't be
I don't
as-
think they're below 500.
They shouldn't be
team.
as slow as they, started, but then when they went on that hot streak too, there's got to be a middle.
Factor it all in.
There's a middle ground, and they're probably better, this year than last year. So 4 or 5 games better than last year, I think is reasonable.
I think, they easily would have surpassed my 88 win prediction last year if they just didn't fall apart in September.
Yeah.
They were projected to go over 90 wins entering September. So
What if Stroman stayed healthy?
and their
Yeah,
bullpen to start the
every
year
team has one
was
edge.
not good.
right? Yeah, it's not even just what happened in September, but it's if you look at May and all the games they blew and the bad stretch, and Seiya was inconsistent for 2 months, and Ross still kept putting him in the 4 hole. You know what I mean? I think with Craig Counsell, it's not necessarily certain games that he's going to win, help the Cubs win. It's more about just like his philosophy is just so much better, in my opinion, than what David Ross's was. So he's going to put guys in position to succeed more. I think Miles Mastrobuoni can be used in a better role this year. Even Nick Madrigal to some aspects, right? So I think guys will be in a much better situation and more likely to show the value on the team under Craig Counsell, because he will use them in better situations. We all everyone yelled about firing David Ross on our YouTube chat for 3-4 months, even longer than that last year. So
even after the season was over.
then they went and decided to give Craig Counsell all this money. I'm not saying Craig Counsell's going to win them games. It's more just about, I think he puts like some of these guys that we just don't know what they're going to do. I think he's going to put more of those guys than not in positions to succeed, and perhaps, keyword perhaps, helps them win more games.
We'll see. All right. What's the next category?
Yeah, I was going to say, so we're at the 50-minute mark, but you guys are welcome to go an hour and a half. You guys are welcome to go an hour and a half if you want. There's no cap on this show.
One quickly.
But you got a solid 12 more of these to go.
Yeah.
And you're going to run through every single one of them, Stucky. I made them
the graphics.
That's right.
They'll finish ahead of. Cody says?
Everyone, because the Delmetrics algorithm says everyone, and I trust Delmetrics.
That's right.
I said everyone the same in the Central or everyone in the entire National League?
Everyone is everyone, Ryan.
I said this last year, so I just feel like I'm going to stick with that saying. I love that saying. Delmetrics over everything.
Yeah, I picked the rest of the NL Central. I think they're going to win the division. Like, honestly, like I said 87 wins. I think that's going to be good enough to win the division. Like, the division's, I think, overall competitive. I don't think it's all I don't think most of the teams are on the higher side of the National League, and I think 87 wins should be enough to win the division themselves. And I think the Cubs can win this division for sure. I think they have a really good shot at it.
Realistically, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, and I'm confident they'll win more games than they did last year. So I'm saying at least 84, and I know most confidently they will win more games than the White Sox. That much I know I can say. They will win more games.
Shot.
Is it too soon for that? Maybe, but they're going to win more games than the Sox. 90 might be, Kool-Aid, but I think the division's bad enough. All right, most important player for 2024. Cody, who's your most important player on the Cubs in 2024?
Seiya Suzuki, because, like I said earlier, I have more questions about the offense than I do pitching. And how many times did we see this team lose by 1 run last year? All right, Seiya Suzuki, as we saw in the spring, he's going to be hitting second more often than not, coming off a huge spring, 1,500 OPS or whatever it was, right? 6 homers, right? Everyone's excited. I got people in my Twitter mentions telling me they're betting on him to win MVP because the odds are so great and people are sleeping, right? I'm in my TikTok live last night, and I got opposing fans yelling at me for such a hot take, all right? I think that if this offense is going to be better or at least the same as last year, Seiya Suzuki has to be more consistent, and he's got to be that guy, man. He's got to be that guy. And I think he can. I absolutely think he can. He's going to be right there in the middle of the lineup, Cody Bellinger right behind him, and Christopher Morel following that with Ian Happ ahead of him. Right there with guys who have proven it, who have had success in this league. He is the key to this team. He is one of the keys to this team of taking that next step and finally getting the playoffs, all right? Yeah. And again, consistency is so key. We talked about it all offseason, consistency, because he was so great in August and September, but in June and July, it was just made me want to pull my hair out. So we need not necessarily August and September, but like more something closer to that over the course of the year.
All-star level.
Yeah.
Yes. All-star level. Who's your guy, Ryan?
So I picked Justin Steele, and you picked, just so we don't have to show the graphic again, you picked?
I was gonna pick Steele because I agree with you in some ways. Like if Steele were to, knock on wood, have problems or injury problems, the staff, I believe, would be in big trouble. But I said Cody Bellinger because he needs to recreate what he did last year.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that's got the MVP power that we know is on the team. Yeah. And if he were to actually take a step forward from what he did last year, the impact on this team would be massive.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like you said, I picked Steele. I just think, again, as I said earlier, I don't think this team is vastly different just because the guys we're looking at as the main contributors are mostly the same guys. I do think it's a better overall team, but I don't think it's vastly different. And, that's even coming off a season when Steele had a top 5 finish at Cy Young, first All-Star appearance, all that, had a stellar season. We all talked about that. For me, he's the most important guy because that he had all that and they still didn't make the playoffs. There's going to be other guys that have to step up around him. But as far as the pitching staff goes, if the Cubs are going to make the league, make the playoffs this year, it just feels to me like Steele has to turn in another really good season, especially because we're looking at him as the team's number 1 starter now, their ace now. He's got to be the one leading the way for that pitching staff.
To me, he's their the next category is most likely All-Star. I think he's their most likely All-Star. Yeah. I think Steele's their most likely All-Star.
It's nice to see him getting some national recognition during over the offseason when they were doing these lists and stuff. He was one of the few guys on this team that was getting some national recognition. Last year he didn't get any of it. So, like Ryan said, this is his year to prove that he's not just a one-year wonder. And I think he will be good. I have as much confidence in him going into opening day as any pitcher on this staff. So, I agree. As far as pitching, he is the most important player. I just think at the end of the day, this team's got to find a way to score runs, and that's why I went with with the position player.
That makes sense. All right.
Christopher Morel, and Ryan's going with Morel, and then Luke went with Bellinger with 32.
I think people are sleeping on Bellinger's power just because he had less last year. But remember, he had a stretch where he didn't play either.
Yeah, he was out for a month.
So he had more and he was right there at the top again last year too.
But then at the same time, Morel had a stretch where he wasn't even in the major leagues.
Absolutely. I just think there is a scenario where Morel could lose playing time on this team if things don't go his way.
That's fair.
Whereas I don't think there's a scenario where Bellinger's not playing for this team as long as he's healthy.
I don't think he loses at bats though, Morel. He may lose playing time in the field. I don't necessarily think. Yeah,
unless he gets in just a strikeout slump where they're just
you can't go down to Iowa.
Again, I don't think Bellinger's ever going to Iowa or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think with Morel, for me, it's just this is the year. If there was a guy to make the All-Star team that hasn't made the All-Star team on this squad, it's Christopher Morel. This guy has all the tools. He has all the tools. He has the charisma, the personality, the smile, all this stuff. And we've seen him go through stretches where he looks like an all-star caliber player, and we've also seen him go through stretches where he just looks awful, right? The biggest question everyone has is, can he stop striking out so much? He struck out 30% of his play appearances last year, right? Then people were calling him Javi Baez, which I still don't understand because he still walks way more than Javi Baez ever did. My big question for him this year is, can he cut down on the strikeouts just a little bit? I'm not asking for too much, just a little bit though. And then again, played less games last season than the year before and still hit 26 homers. I mean, I think putting 38 was not enough. I probably should have put 40. All right. So, and that's when I drink.
Who was the last 40 homer guy? What did I say? D. Lee?
D. Lee.
D. Lee.
I believe it was. So
I think he had 38 total if you include minor league ones, right?
Yeah.
So
I went with 38 because I think that's what Chris Bryant had in his MVP season. So,
I had 33, just a few less.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that Morel has, when you talk about the win projection total that we talked about, if they win 89 or 90 games, then Morel's going to have a big part in that. I just think because he's in the spring, he's been hitting third or fourth in the lineup every day whenever he's in the game. So clearly the Cubs want to play him every day and they want to get him as many play appearances as possible. So I'm all in on him.
All right, we're continuing our big prediction show. 2024 season is almost here. We're less than a few hours away from opening day for your Chicago Cubs. CHGO Cubs podcast. I brought this one up a little bit earlier. I snaked it in early. I said my most likely all-star was Steele. Who's your most likely all-star on this Cubs team?
I went with Bellinger, and it was a lot of what you said in terms of he's a former MVP. I think he might have a chip on his shoulder for no one, going through this whole free agent process and not getting that long-term deal that he wanted. He can potentially opt out after this year if he wants. There's a lot to play for him here in 2024, and that's one of the reasons why I love the contract that he got, because not only because the Cubs have some guys who could replace him, but also because he's gonna have. I feel like he will have a chip on his shoulder, and wants to prove that last year was not just some fluke year after all those bad seasons beforehand. So I think Cody Bellinger, especially with the fact that he can play multiple positions at an elite level, plus the offense. I mean, if the Cubs are winning this division for the first 2 months of the year, I think Cody Bellinger is going to be getting all-star votes.
Yeah, no, that's good. I went with Swanson.
That's fair too.
I mean, I think he is the best defensive shortstop in Major League Baseball. I don't remember if stats-wise, if anyone had better stats
outs
than him
above
last
average,
year.
he led baseball.
I think so. I think he led him in outs above average, defensive run save. I haven't looked it up right now, but no, I mean he plays elite level defense, like best in the league or at least near best in the league defense at shortstop. And I honestly expect a season more on. I'm not expecting him to put up like a 130 plus 100 or a WRC plus season, but like you go back 2 years ago, he had a 116 WRC plus his last season with Atlanta. He got an all-star nod then, while also playing elite defense. Last year, he slumped a little bit more towards the end, and that hurt his numbers. But like his numbers were lower than what he had in that last season in Atlanta. But he still played elite defense, was the leader and all that stuff, and he made an all-star team. Last season, a second straight all-star. I look at it as we're still going to get the exact same elite defense that he provides at shortstop. But like now that he's had a full year under his belt with the Cubs, so when you're talking about transitioning from the organization you've basically been with your entire pro ball career, and not even just that, the stuff you have to transition to, going from a team that plays a lot more night games to a team that plays a lot more day games, like you're talking about just the general routine, how you're doing things,
He's talked about that too.
Yeah, he's talked about that. So like all that's for sure behind him now. He's gotten the full year. I think stuff like that can just help him in various ways. So I do expect a better overall offensive season from him on top of him playing elite level defense. I know there's a lot of good shortstops in the National League. There's a lot of good shortstops everywhere. But I do think can show again that he's one of the better ones and deserves an all-star nod. And if we're talking about
in a way, he has a chip on his shoulder as well, just because I think fans are down on him right now, and I think he knows that.
I was gonna say, if we're talking about the fan vote, like the Cubs also have a lot of fans too. Like they
true.
could sway things
That's
in
true.
Dansby's favor. But no, I do expect we can see another all-star season out of him.
Sarah would vote for him over and over and over if she could, which you can illegally. Just keep punching it. All right, because I'm Captain Positive, we're going to skip worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is they miss the playoffs and they move to Nashville. Best case scenario, well, we have a couple of them. Cody, what's your best case scenario for the Cubs? We know worst case. They missed the playoffs. It's a disaster for this team. Disaster.
Best case scenario. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, best case scenario. What's your best?
To win the Central and then win a playoff series. I think that's for them to win the Central and then actually win a playoff series I think that's really drinking the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. Best case scenario, they win the World Series. But if I'm more realistic, and you're asking me for best case scenario, then I say winning the Central or making the playoffs and winning a playoff series, which they haven't won a playoff game since 2017. They're due. So.
Yeah, I mean they've only played one playoff game since 2017, right?
Well, you got to count 2020.
I mean, in a full season. In a full season.
Yes, in a full season, you are correct.
They haven't played. They've only played one since 2017. I know the shortened season in 2020. But yeah, my best case scenario, I think it was something like holding a comfortable lead in the division in September. Just because that if you're holding a comfortable lead in later in September, that you're probably winning the division at that point, unless something really bad happens at the end of the season. You're probably winning the division with a comfortable lead. But also it allows you to not have to just push every single game, as the Cubs the last 2 months of the year last year, basically after the All-Star break, it was just every single game felt like a playoff game. Every single game felt close. That's why a lot of those high leveraged. Yeah, and they collapsed. But that's why so many of those high leverage bullpen guys got used so much. Every game was close. Every game, as far as adrenaline, emotions, all that kind of stuff, felt like a playoff game. If you're having just a comfortable lead towards the end of the season, not that you should take your foot off the pedal, but maybe guys can get a little bit of extra rest. Guys can, come out later in a game when the game's over, stuff like that, because you have enough cushion built in that you can just do that as you go into the playoffs, and you're just more rested. You have guys are just ready, more ready to go once that postseason starts. I think that's, when you look at it, it's just like not just winning the division is the best case scenario. It's like having that comfortable lead going later in September, second half of September, so that you have the division kind of wrapped up, and you can you can go into the playoffs with not coming off like having to win every single game again.
I don't think that's high enough. I mean, I predicted 90 wins for the season. Mm-hmm. I think not only do they have to win a playoff series, which I think is doable. Look at the Diamondbacks. The team that finished one game ahead of them went to the World Series. I'm not saying they're going to the World Series. I'm not predicting they're going to the World Series. There's no reason this team, just like 15, can't at least make it to the NLCS. You can't surprise some people in the playoffs. You line up. You have a good enough season. You're in a division that is totally mid. If you play well enough that you go ahead and get yourself into the postseason, why waste the opportunity?
Yeah.
Catch fire. Get some of these young guys up, insert that energy into the lineup, and finally get back to the postseason and make something happen. Make this a building block season. I'm not predicting it's going to happen. I'm just saying
that's the best case scenario.
Best case scenario is this team gets to the NLCS this year.
Well,
maybe I didn't look at the word best case scenario.
Well, it's just a matter of how you look at the question.
I basically said what Luke's saying, because if they win the Central, then they're going to go straight to the NLDS. Yeah. I think, unless they're the fourth worst record of division record.
Third worst.
Is it third worst? Okay.
Well, it was like the worst of the three division winners would play the wild card round.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, never mind then.
Don't let the facts get in the way.
Don't let the facts.
Either way, if they can get to the NLCS, that would be best case scenario.
Yeah. Why do you hate the Cubs, Ryan? Jeez.
Brags.
I'm sorry.
We picked the same amount of wins.
What are the Bears going to do with the number one?
Are we going to do worst case?
Are we talking about Bears again? Talk about Bears for the 1,000th day in a row.
Are we going to do worst case scenario?
Talk about Bears.
Worst case scenario, we all
wait a minute.
If they miss the playoffs, right?
We talk every team every day in a row.
I meant to say, are we going to talk Fields and versus Williams for the 1,000th day in a row?
That's what we do. We talk Bears every day.
That's what I meant to say.
How long you guys want to? You want to go through all the stuff, or you want to just go straight to the World Series?
I do want to do all this stuff.
You want to do all the stuff?
Yeah.
Cody wants to do it. It's the preview show.
Let's power through some of the national ones.
Opening day eve.
Cody asked, worst case scenario. We all know it. They missed the playoffs. It's a train wreck of a season.
Yes.
That's it. I joked they moved to Nashville in the chat saying, no, that's the White Sox. Yes, I understand that.
Can I say something though?
Yes, I know.
If they miss the playoffs, I will start calling for names. I will.
I will. You're gonna say Craig Counsell needs to be fired.
I'm not.
Cody's gonna say.
Not Craig Counsell, because it's year one, unless they really miss the play, win 70
People will
games.
have to answer if they don't make the playoffs.
But if they miss the playoffs, I'm gonna be criticizing Jed. I'm gonna be criticizing Carter. I'm gonna be criticizing certain players if they don't perform to the level they're supposed to be.
Cody's gonna say the clean house.
Ownership?
Trade everyone.
I probably will be more critical of ownership, which is something Godfather would probably love for me to do more, right?
Good luck with the surgery.
This is the year. This is the year that they have to make the playoffs. I've given them too much leeway most fans probably haven't, but I've given them way too much leeway over the last handful of years. This is the year you got to make the playoffs. And if you miss the playoffs, I'm letting y'all know now, I will be calling for names, unless it's one game or something like that. And then it's because of injuries, or if certain circumstances might lead me to not do so. But if they miss the playoffs in general, I probably will be very, very angry. So I just wanted to say that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. That's not making the playoffs the worst case scenario. Obviously, they could lose 100 games. That would be a terrible scenario, right? But just in general, whether it's they missed the playoffs by a game or two, or they just completely just horrible all year, regardless, the end result is them missing the playoffs. That's the worst case scenario.
And I hate saying this, because I don't want to be the guy who sits on this show and calls for someone to lose their job. Right. I don't want to be that guy. But if things play out in a way that it's almost kind of like last year again,
then you're willing to be that guy.
Then I'm willing to be that guy, because it's you didn't learn from your past mistakes.
Okay.
So
no, that's fair.
All right, let's fly through the national predictions, our whole baseball predictions.
Here we go.
NL MVP. National League MVP. A lot of love here from Cody and Ryan going Mookie Betts. You guys think Mookie Betts is the guy?
Yeah, Ohtani and
Change
Freeman
position.
behind him. He was second in MVP last season, and it's kind of similar to Ronald Acuna, who won last year.
Yeah, and I'll take Acuna just repeating as National League MVP. Yeah. Now, Cy Young, there are a lot of good names in there. Cody, you went Gallon after his big season last year, huh?
Well, admittedly, them adding Jordan Montgomery honestly just made me think, Zach Gallen's going to have even more have more success now because he's not going to feel all this pressure to just be this guy, And also, I haven't reminded people in a while, the Cardinals traded this guy for, I don't even remember anymore. So I would love to just throw that back in their faces some more.
I think Spencer Strider is a really good pitcher. He's my pick for the NL Cy Young. He's really good.
He is.
He's very young, great team. I think he's going to lead them. I'm predicting the Braves to have the best record in the National League. And I think, obviously, him leading the way in that rotation, I think he takes home the Cy Young. There's going to be a lot of candidates by the end of it, as we saw last season until kind of the last 2 weeks when Blake Snell sort of pulled away. I do think there'll be a lot of good candidates for most of the season, but I look at Spencer Strider as he's probably going to win that Cy Young.
I think those are both good. I just tried to throw out a different name, Logan Webb. I think he finished top 3 last year.
I want to say third or fourth for sure.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be an improved team. National League Rookie of the Year.
I was a little homerish on this one. I went with PCA because, one, people are down on PCA going into this season, which is just laugh out loud funny to me. I understand Bellinger's going to be in center, but at some point, PCA is going to get his opportunity. After 150 minor league at-bats, I think PCA will be making his way to the Chicago Cubs, and he will provide a massive spark for this team defensively, and I think he will hit. So give me PCA to win National League Rookie of the Year because I'm spiting all the people who are down on him right now.
Yeah, I'm going with not homerish. I'm going with Yamamoto from the Dodgers. They paid him a lot of money. They paid him a lot of money.
Didn't have a great spring.
He better win the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think he's going to be a very good player. Like, even if there is that little transition period for him, it's not going to last the whole season, in my opinion. And he's going to be really good for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers team overall is just going to be really good. That's why I picked Mookie Betts for the MVP. But
right now is a good time to bet on him because everyone's down on him since he had that one bad start in Korea or wherever they played.
But I think he'll be really good and he'll win Rookie of the Year. I don't know if it's going to be like, I wouldn't say it's a runaway. I think there's other good candidates for Rookie of the Year in the National
Michael Busch.
League.
I'm going Jackson Chourio just because the Brewers always seem to find. I don't want it to happen, but
Sure.
That's why I just
people are calling this guy Ronald Acuna light. That's the hype that he's.
I think there's going to be some good candidates.
Yeah, let's hope not. National League Manager of the Year, a lot of love for Craig Counsell.
I mean, yeah,
Counts picked him.
Won't he have earned it if the Cubs win the division, which is what I predicted?
He's finished second place 4 times now, including this last season.
I would say if the Diamondbacks find a way, even though they went to the World Series, if the Diamondbacks find a way out of that division, their manager might be.
I mean, did he win it last year?
If they win the West.
I think so.
So you think
did he win it last year? I think he did win it.
No, Schumacher did.
Schumacher for the Marlins.
Did. Okay. Yeah. If the Diamondbacks win the West, then yeah.
Then if they win the West, he'll win it.
Yeah, but I think me and Cody both picked Counsell. Obviously, he's one of the better managers in baseball. He has not won a Manager of the Year award yet, which could help with that. But also, as we've said, I expect the Cubs to be in the playoffs. I expect them to be solidly better than they were this past season. And he's the guy that's tasked with leading them that way. And if the Cubs do make the playoffs, I think Craig Counsell will have earned the Manager of the Year award for sure.
Comeback Player of the Year, we have 2 Chris Sales and 1 Edwin Diaz. Ryan thinks
Timmy Trumpets.
Timmy Trumpets.
That's not the.
I think that's the song.
That's closer. That's closer.
Anyways, I think that's what let's do our World Series predictions. Edwin Diaz, Chris Sale, what's the difference? They're all going to cut their sleeves off, and everybody's going to celebrate with the trumpets.
Well, I just think Chris Sale's not even the best pitcher in that rotation, and now
flying under the radar.
Yeah, he's flying under the radar. He was a large part of his issue has just been health.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, he'll probably
be
the
new organization. Change of scenery, Bellinger type situation from last year for the Cubs. Yeah, Chris Sale. I think that especially with him being on the Braves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Who's winning the World Series this year? Who's winning the World Series? Who's playing in the World Series? Who's winning the World Series this year?
Before I say this, just remember the OGs remember this bit, okay?
Sure.
So just remember this, all right?
It's a bit.
I'm taking the Cardinals over the Orioles.
Oh, Cody Del Cardinals back.
All right? Cardinals are winning the World Series over the Orioles. Will really be upset if I'm so wrong. I can't wait to
jinx.
I can't wait to
trying to put the jinx on.
I can't wait for that to happen.
But we can look back and say that Cody predicted the Cardinals to win the World
well,
Series.
that
No
would be
context. Out of context.
Out of
Cody
context.
predicted the Cardinals to win the World Series. No context.
Did this
Cody.
last year, all right?
You got
And
the
it
Cards
worked
over
out
the
my way.
Orioles?
Cards over the Orioles. Yes.
Ryan, who you predicting?
I have the Braves over the Astros.
Oh, so mid.
I mean, was it mid? It's chalk, whatever. The Braves are obviously one of the
I'm
best teams
looking
in
at
the National
Luke's and
League.
like that's chalk too.
And
Come
the
on,
Astros
brother.
are going to be one of the best teams in the American League, and I think they're going to. You know, it would actually be a rematch of 3 years ago, 2021. Was it? Yeah, 2021 when the Braves beat the Astros in the World Series, and I mean, I'm predicting it to happen again, but they're going to be two of the best teams in the league, and I totally see them making the playoffs or making the World Series against each other.
I could see that very easily. Mine's pretty chalk, too, like you said. I mean, listen, I went 90 wins on the Cubs and said they could get all the way to the NLCS. That's as bold as I'm going to go on this show. Dodgers over the Orioles. The Orioles finally break through. Their talent is too much not to get out of. Finally get out of the American League.
Yeah,
and the Dodgers, as long as Ohtani doesn't get suspended for the season, they have so much talent. I like the Braves, but I think this might be the time. They have one World Series, 2020. They have an asterisk World Series. I would not be surprised at all if that big spending led to a World Series just like it did for the Rangers last year.
Interesting.
If you've been in my TikTok lives, you know who I really believe is going to win the World Series.
Cardinals, yeah.
It's obviously the Cardinals. The Cardinals. All right. No. The Cardinals are winning the World Series.
This is the longest podcast, I think, of our.
I was going to say, could you imagine like if that actually did happen?
Well, then I can say I called it.
And then you could say you called your shot.
It happened last year, and I was the happiest man on earth. As in, like, my prediction was wrong last year, and, like, I'm wrong all the time. So, like, I was the happiest thing I was happy about. Was that prediction?
I'm wrong all the time. Flip it.
I openly say that I'm wrong all the time. Everyone loves to remind me that I'm wrong, okay?
Good work, Braggs. Good timing on the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Listen, we're way over our time slot because we so much wanted to stretch out this offseason that just would not end.
Hell yeah, brother. Oh, yeah.
We thought, can we squeeze a few more minutes out of this offseason?
Well, we had to, get through the batting practice stuff to start. So, got to get the predictions in so they're on the record.
Pursuit of Ohtani. We had to get through that.
This is a show that we're going to look back on in like 3 months.
Yeah, and all my predictions will come true.
Luke, I know you're going to nail your prediction again. We believe in you.
83-90.
You're wise beyond your years. And that's a lot of years.
My last two predictions have been so spot on. It's not. I should be working in Vegas, not here. Don't forget, tomorrow, RSVP. This is your chance. It doesn't cost you anything. We're just asking you to tell us if you're showing up.
Yes.
Country Club Watch Party, 6 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to be there in Wrigleyville, right on Clark Street. They're going to have drink specials for you because of CHGO. We're going to have giveaways for you because we're CHGO. And we're going to have good times for you because we're CHGO. Hashtag vibe with us.
I'm just requesting one thing and one thing only. Please do not wear an Iowa State shirt to the bar. Thank you.
I have an Iowa State basketball T-shirt.
Oh, boy.
You would wear it. I know you would.
Oh,
I
boy.
might. I don't know if it's clean.
On opening day, you're going to wear Iowa State stuff?
We don't need fisticuffs for the first show of the year.
Well, I'm like leaning towards not wearing it. But
I wasn't sure how late I was. I'm definitely coming over there and going to hang out, and I wasn't sure how late I was going to stay.
Right.
Because I'm going to Detroit for the Sweet 16 in Purdue. Me and Cody are deep into this March Madness right now. Yeah. But to stay there and watch Cody Delmendo do a post-game show live while Illinois is
Trying to
playing
watch the game, yeah.
might be must-see TV. I might have to stay for this.
Listen, come out, hang with us. Del Frendo's going to be shaking hands, kissing babies. We'll all be there. We'll have
I'll
a good
sign
time.
your baby.
We'll start the season the right way. Hopefully,
Yes.
we start the season with a Blue Moon beer bat chug.
Oh, brother.
You got to bring it. You
89,
can't forget. Hey,
90
don't forget
beer
the
bats?
bat. Don't forget the bat
Oh,
tomorrow.
I won't. I'm going to bring the one I have at home.
We'll send you home to go get it.
We're manifesting a win tomorrow. Let's go, man. I'm ready. Finally, a game to talk about, so I don't have to sit here and talk about nothing like we have been all offseason.
That's right, DFW Susie. He'll be shaking babies and kissing hands. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by our friends at Blue Moon. Golden, Colorado will be with them all season. A lot of fun stuff lined up for you throughout the year. Check it out, including the Friday 120 Club until tomorrow. Opening day for your Chicago Cubs.
Let's go, baby.
We're back.
Next year is here.
I'm ready to be hurt again.
It's going to happen. Until then, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.